future generation. This is why I have been working on SB 202, a bipartisan bill that will establish outdoor learning pilot program beginning in the 2024-25 school year to develop and study outdoor learning spaces in elementary and secondary school. Simultaneously, I have been collaborating with the Department of Natural Resources and the Georgia Outdoor Recreation Coalition, SB 228, which will establish the position of the Director of Outdoor Recreation. The Georgia Outdoor Recreation Coalition consists of 44 different organizations working to strengthen, to expand Georgia's outdoor recreation infrastructure, culture, and economy. Increasing access to the outdoor and participation in outdoor recreation program are critical to improving the health and wellness of all residents, maintaining residents' quality of life, and developing future environmental stewards and conservationists to build on our public lands heritage. Georgia residents, regardless of their race, zip code, or economic status, are entitled to fair, just environmental protection that ensure healthy and life and a safe outdoor recreation. Thank you to the Georgia Coalition for the advancements of environmental justice for hosting today's event and bringing awareness to the environmental justice issue facing communities here in Georgia. We will continue to work to increase accessibility to the healthy and safe environment in Georgia. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Before we receive Representative Evans, I just wanted to recognize the coalition partners. So if you don't mind when I call your name, because it's because of these organizations that we're here today. Just please raise your hand and be recognized, okay? Georgia 1. Dogwood Alliance. Greenleaf Analytics. Sheikh. Rahman House. My Familiar Voter. And Eco Action. We have Carla Lewis here. And Science for Georgia. All right. It's because of these organizations that we're here, and I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge you and thank you for your collaboration and all of your hard work. Now let's get this in the committee. All right?
Thank you so much, Kim, and it's so great to be here with all of you today on Environmental Justice Day in the Capitol. I'm State Representative Becky Evans, and I just wanted to say that I'm so proud to be here with all of you, all of the partners and my fellow legislators on this really important day. I do want to talk just a little bit about the residential energy burden here in Georgia. Georgians have the eighth highest electricity bills costs in the nation, and Black residents, renters, and fixed and low-income households carry a disproportionately large share of this energy burden. And so we need to address this, and we need to work with our utilities to address this. I have legislation on the Georgians First Fund, and the key provisions of that is that utilities, when they make excess profits over what they're guaranteed, when they make above 10.5% profit, they take a little bit of that extra value and they put it into a fund to help our low-income Georgians. So it's dedicated to affordability, conservation, and essential electric services for our low-income and fixed-income ratepayers. And this legislation focuses on high energy burden zip codes by prioritizing I am proud to share that the Georgians First Fund prioritizes and seeks to address the needs of low-income and fixed-income electricity consumers across the state of Georgia. So I want to work with you, with all of your environmental organizations, and with my colleagues, and we need to bring about sound legislation working to advance the health, well-being, and overall resilience of all Georgians, and especially those most impacted through sustainable, environmentally sound practices. And also we need to do this with bipartisan support so that the needs of all proud Georgians and our neighbors can be addressed in a timely manner, without any delay, while truly making Georgia a great place to live, work, and do business. So I join you in these efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, I'm Representative Al Williams. I represent the 168th House District, Coastal Georgia, Liberty County. That's my friend, President Zach and I. He and I have been friends over 50 years, even though his mother was a better friend to me than him. She was a Jew. Listen, I'm here in support of environmental justice. I'm here because it is vitally important. But I'm not here as just an observer. I've been on the Liberty County Development Authority for 24 years, and I've been chairman. My term as chairman started in January. In this time, I've been involved in negotiations with well over 100 companies. And one of the things that we've looked at during the time I've spent, how do you pollute? What's your track record? What is it you manufacture? And what does science say that does to the human body and soul? And what there is a unique balance that must be met. And I represent kind of both sides, the business development end and the environmental end. The balance must be, in rural Georgia, jobs are desperately needed. But don't get so desperate until you take anything. Unfortunately, for far too many years, the deadliest problems remain in communities of color. And it brings to mind my wife worked for the Environmental Protection Agency for many years and watched the Superfund be developed and watched the largest Superfund area in the country is in Brooksville, Georgia, Hercules. For years and years, developed a product that was deadly. And unfortunately, as Brother Lyon can tell you, we have houses occupied by citizens that's no farther away from me to the staircase, the entrance to Hercules, and these folks have lived there for years and years and years, and there's a disproportionate amount of cancer in that community of color in Brunswick. There must never, ever again be a Hercules site in America. Never again. And when you balance the two, you must have jobs in rural Georgia. And there are a lot of companies out there that you can bring to the community and not sell your health for the sake of a job. You've got to be conscious, and one of the things we must do, especially those of you that are activists, you have to show up at development authority meetings. Because if you're not at the table, you're going to be on the menu. Development authorities, we operate kind of under the radar. But when you come and let your voices be heard, it is extremely important. And the most important thing in the world is get your facts right. If you're going to raise heaven, have documented truth that you raise in heaven. Don't come and make a fuss when you don't know why you're fussing. that you leave a planet that God created in 7 days, that lasted for eons. And in the last 100 years, man has done all that he could to destroy the perfection of God's word. Environmental justice is important, and you have got to stay in the fight. I'm so glad and excited to see my colleagues and this bill that is moving, that we must get behind. I understand they've been combined. We must get behind. It's important. But let's do it. Let's do all we can while we can, and leave our children and grandchildren and great-great-grandchildren a legacy of a clean world, created, lived, and working.
All right, Zion.
Please support House Bill 1263. Good afternoon. My name is Zion Chisholm. I'm going to be reciting your speech about environmental justice. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am 15 years of age, and I came to the Capitol to speak about the need for an environmental justice bill in the state of Georgia. As a 15-year-old, I have witnessed the devastation of climate change, policies, rules, and regulations that allow environmental racism to permeate our neighborhoods. Policies in place has allowed corporations to construct industries that pollute our air, soil, and water. My friends suffer with asthma. Many of my family members have lung disease, and many of them have never smoked. Rural communities of color, poor, overburdened, for decades have lived near chemical plants, biomass plants, cement plants, recycling plants, and various manufacturing plants. Heavy-duty trucks spew toxics and harmful diesel emissions adversely impacting public health. Our legislators have the power to prevent a cancer outbreak in Georgia. We don't want to suffer as the people between Baton Rouge and New Orleans are suffering with unprecedented rates of cancer from petrochemical plants.
All right.
I implore our legislators to establish a bipartisan committee to work together for the well-being of those who continue to suffer because of profit over people.
Yeah. All right.
Before I leave today, I ask you, what is a world without environmental justice? What is a world without justice? Please pass House Bill 1263. We're depending on you. Thank you.
For the concerned citizens of Cook County. I come to you from the deep South of Georgia. We got our folks back there. And I'm here because House Bill 1263, the Environmental Justice Bill, is very important because I realize that we get disregarded. When it came to a bill, air permit to be permitted in our community, in which there were multiple industries already existing, we were told in the comments that they did not have to consider the demographics of our area. And that was a slap in our faces. And that's why we stand here before you. With legacy pollution in our community, sickness in our community that has no genetic trace, but is only based on the commonality of that there was a plant next door. Today we ask for protection where we live and where our children play from the cumulative impact of industries that sit next door. Why do we have to be the Bermuda Triangle in our community? And what I mean by that is while we see our community members, our friends, and our loved ones disappear year after year because they live near that plant, the one that's no longer open, the one that was there since 1957, the one that left the creosote soaked into the soil and impacted the groundwater. That plant. Where we hear those stories. If you look for the smokestacks in any town, in any place in Georgia, just on the west side, on the south side, that community, the one where you have the stench in the air that people have come too commonly to be accustomed to. And this is why today we asked for House Bill 1263 to be passed. For Ada, Georgia, for Lincoln Park in Valdosta, for Albany, Georgia, for all those little towns that we may not see the faces, but we hear their cries and their concerns. We want businesses that build, but not those that kill us. There is without harming or hurting humans. And we are sick and tired of being sick and tired. And because of that, we're here today and we're asking you to consider us, to see us, to protect us, to see our children and protect our future by passing House Bill 1263, the Environmental Justice Act bill, because clean air and water is a human right. It's a civil right. We must act today.
I'm not sure what else I have to add, except I will tell you I've been a river keeper for 17 years. And that one thing I know as a river keeper is when nobody else will pick up the phone, people call river keepers because the city won't listen, the county won't listen. So we end up working in the middle of a bunch of environmental justice issues just at our base. And there is absolutely no doubt, so I live here, but you can see my whole river. And the whole side of the state is lit up in blue, right? That means that we have disadvantaged communities. We also have Savannah Riverside. We also have Vogel. We also have DSM Chemical. We also have Solvay Chemicals. We also, I can keep going. We have a bunch of battery plants too. Guess where they're located? They're certainly not located in places where people work in those companies. They're located in my poorer communities. And actually, you know what? Let me take that back. They're not located in the poor communities. They were located in black communities that then became disadvantaged. There's a huge difference. So, what I am hoping I can urge you today is, yes, we're here at the State House, but one, the feds are trying to pour money as fast as they can into environmental justice communities. Georgia needs to be in the forefront. We need to be in the forefront. We need to be working together. That money needs to come here to make a difference. The other thing I want to urge you is work on telling the story. So I'm in Augusta. We have a thing called Healthy Augusta. We started because we have fought for years to keep chemical companies from continuing their contamination. A bunch of them left, and then within 6 months, they brought about 4 of them back again in South and East Augusta. So we formed Healthy Augusta, so that's enough. Like, we've got to tie environment and public health. There is a tie. There is absolutely a tie. What we don't recognize is that when somebody says environment, that means that there's a child whose IQ points have just gone down because of that contamination. We have to understand that. So what I want to urge you today is to go back and tell the story that's not in the history books. Go back and figure out in your community, what are the stories that haven't been told? Where are the 20 black men that died of bladder cancer at Augusta Chemical? Right? Those stories have to be told because you have to clean up what's there now and prevent the future. So you guys are incredible. You're here. This is awesome. Keep it going.
More than 55% of Latinos nationwide live in regions grappling with severe droughts, unprecedented heat waves, and rising sea levels. Latinos also make up the majority of the workforce in industries impacted by climate change, such as agriculture, manufacturing, and construction. We're seeing the impact, and we know that we deserve so much more. Nosotros merecemos mejor. That is why we stand together, united, Latinos across the state of Georgia, to advocate for HB 1263, a bill that would prioritize the fair enforcement of environmental justice laws, ensure data transparency to hold accountable corporations that are destroying our land and our community, and most importantly, shield us from the very real impacts and what is to come in our environmental disasters. Today, Latinos from across the state of Georgia have come here to send a very clear message. We are here, and we will continue to occupy this space, but we don't want to do it alone. We ask you to stand united with us and passing HB 1263, porque nosotros merecemos mejor. And as all Latinos know, los Latinos unidos jamás serán vencidos. Thank you.
There's a young woman in Alabama by the name of Honey Tucker. And I think we should take a minute to recognize the work that she did with the Southern Organizing Committee. We're standing on her shoulders at this time. Because we were standing on her shoulders, we did a lot of work. We put in the work. The last piece of work we put in was a eulogy. And that eulogy was by American Pie, aimed at one of the places that Representative Al Williams talked about in terms of Brunswick. Unfortunately, it ain't just Berkeley. We're the most polluted zip code in the state of Georgia. Most of us don't know that 27.5% of the Superfund sites in the state of Georgia is in Glenn County. Most people don't know that 17 RICO sites, which is Superfund sites managed by the state of Georgia. We are here because the state of Georgia has not done what it should have done. We talk a lot about the notion of the Bible, but we haven't been introduced to the actions that should come from the Bible. The first commandment that God gives you is take care of the creation that He put in place. But what has happened to us is our preachers have lost their minds, and all they're interested in is the great change you can give them to betray the trust of those of us who work, give, have no resources to do it with, but we have made it clear, as we did with that eulogy that we did at Hercules Pine Oak. We stood in Hercules Pine Oak with our robe from the church that we don't wear much because our religion has turned to rage. It's turned to rage because people pretend like they want to do something about the nasty, dirty, filthy air, water, soil, fish. They pretend like they want to do something, but when it comes down to the very idea of putting in the work, you can't find it. And so what we are here today to do, and we are grateful that we have been given enough space to meet Georgia Woman. We are grateful that we were given enough space today to be with Eco Action, who has come a million miles to influence us against the dirty, nasty community we live in to shape up. 1263 is a humbling piece. But if you ain't got it in your heart, if you think that what's going to happen is the state of Georgia is going to grant you the peace that you ought to have from having clean water, clean air, and clean soil, trust me, I am 85 years old in June. I have been working on this stuff since I was 4 years old. And I've seen folk who could speak well. I've seen them as they have come from Almond Avenue. I've known them from the places that we have called Cancer Alley. But they don't know Brunswick, Georgia is Cancer Lane. We got to get serious here. And I'm going to tell you how we have gotten serious. We have a group called, and he hiding, no, there he is. He's working with us with a group from Brunswick called WIC Force. And it is patterned after a group called the Defense, the Deacons of Defense and Justice. We are not going to let our babies be destroyed another minute without folk like you. We coming to get some of that money you got here. We know what a organizer you are. We know what we need from you. We don't have resources. We came here what was it? Y'all was praying in the car. Somebody was praying because I was asleep. Just like the community is asleep right now. We are going back with 1263 and tell the preachers, we gonna run you out of church. If you don't make us the lobby, we have to be the lobby. I saw lobbies in this place today running over us. Got it by the state police. So that's why I know the state of Georgia ain't gonna do nothing.
Well, if you didn't hear that call to action, I don't know what to tell you. I want to first recognize my colleague, Representative Marvin Lynn, here today. I'm State Representative Keith Schofield. And to my colleagues, to my friends, the family, the activists, to all that stand together to champion House Bill 1263, thank you. The time has come. Amen. And our time is now. The Georgia Environmental Justice Act has been birthed and housed and growing for 4 years now. It is 4 years overdue. As my friend has said, this is not just a human right, this is a civil right. This bill is not just a bill. It is a bill of hope for communities. It's a rural bill, it's a suburban bill, it's an urban bill. We have the right to have clean water, soil, air. We have the right to have toxins removed. This is an emergency, a public health crisis. And we stand to hold those accountable. So this bill is going to require state agencies to consider the impacts of environmental hazards on not just people of color, but all people. This bill empowers all the rights and the wrongs of the past and ensures that every Georgian and every child going forward is healthy and whole. And what really gets me is that my colleagues refuse to want what's in the best interest of those going forward. How could you not want help? If not for yourself, but for your children's children too. I want it mine. So this bill is not just about addressing injustices, but it's about building a brighter, more sustainable future for generations to come by mandating pollution prevention measures and community health studies. We're safeguarding the health and well-being of our citizens and laying a foundation for healthier, more prosperous Georgia. So we're not just standing together, we're going to take action together. We're going to demand that we get this done now. We need not only for this bill to be heard in committee, we need to be voted out of committee and make it to the House floor so we can vote. And this is your call to action, to make sure you're calling the chair and ask for a hearing and a vote to get this bill out. And we want it to go to the House. We won't unwaver in our ask. We won't beg. We will simply require that this is the right thing to do in this time. We want all the toxic PFAS has to go. So, as Georgia thrives and survives, we're going to make sure we're at the table declaring that this is going to be a healthy Georgia. This will be an environmentally sound Georgia, where everybody has rights and we're treated with dignity, respect, and we will be environmental stewards.
Amen.
Thank you for being here today. You have your marching orders. Listen, you have the voice. We have the pen. When we come together, imagine how much we can get things done. Kim stands for keep it moving. We're going to go out and get it done. Let's change this thing.
Thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Everyone has come from everywhere across Georgia. My voice is worse because we've been working so hard. Look at what we got here. So thank you. Thank you. We will have fun and action.